Very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
So, you're looking back at Donald Trump's history. One thing I do want to say, I don't know if you are aware, Palm Beach didn't used to let African Americans there. Donald Trump sued the city of Palm Beach to allow black membership at Mar-a-Lago. That is not racist. I think one of the problems that we have a lot on the left, every time there's a disagreement, we get thrown, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're this, you're that. And it dissolves the discussions that we should be having on policies. Secondly, Donald Trump worked with Senator Scott to create opportunity zones in black communities. If he was truly a racist, it's not something that he would do. So I think the whole premise is he's a racist, he's a sexist, takes away from policy positions that we should be discussing. If we go to the border and we talk about rapists and murderers, yeah, they are happening. Laken Riley is now dead. We have 300,000 missing migrant children known sold into the sex trade, per the last IG report. These are important issues. Our economy is important issues.
You mind if I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Are you a U.S.-born citizen?
100%.
You are statistically speaking 4 times more likely to commit a violent crime than an undocumented migrant. So when you kind of virtue signal on behalf of that.
They shouldn't be here.
Okay. All right.
And my husband's an immigrant.
Okay, yeah. But
a legal immigrant.
Okay.
Who came here legally.
Okay, I understand.
We've got 100 ISIS in our country right now that was reported. We've got gotaways. We've got Tende de Aragua. I've interviewed Oscar Blue, who's been through the Darien Gap 4 times. People are dying.
Okay, so you're saying that we have a crisis at the side of the border.
Well, I'm saying that you're saying that Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump loves America.
Okay.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about this clip that's going viral in liberal circles because the left, they are celebrating this woke teenager, this young white liberal male. Now, I want you guys to notice they all kind of look alike. Okay, all of the white liberal men, they seem to all kind of look the same, right? I want you guys to notice the pattern here of how these individuals tend to look and behave, right? And present themselves and carry themselves, okay? It's very disturbing when you think about it. But anyways, this is a part of a series in which Jubilee has one conservative or one liberal sit down and take on people with opposite beliefs, okay, one at a time. And this is their version where they have a liberal take on 20 conservatives. And I want to react to one part of this segment where a conservative woman is going to sit down and they're going to basically debate who is the better candidate for president, Trump or Kamala Harris. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Kamala Harris would be a much better president than Donald Trump. Welcome in.
Hi.
Hi. So, do you mind if I give you my reasons why I think that Harris would be a better president?
If you want.
Yeah, so there's 2 main categorical reasons why I say Harris would be better than Trump. The first category is character. The second category is policy. Let's start off with character. First of all, Trump is a felon, Trump is a fraudster, Trump is an election denier, he's a dictator on day one, wannabe fascist, okay? Kamala Harris is none of those. Kamala Harris wants to protect and preserve a democracy. She wants to fight for the freedoms of all Americans, especially the 170 million American women and girls. And then we could reference policy next. If you want to respond to character, go for it. If you want me to hop straight into policy, I could do that too.
Honestly, there's so much here that I don't even know where to start. But I think where I'm going to start is that it is unbelievable that you have young men in this country that think like this, right? That are buying into these NPC talking points from the Democrats, because that's what it is, right? I mean, there are no rights that women don't have in this country, right? Women have the same rights as men in this country. So I'll be fascinated to know exactly what rights are Kamala Harris fighting for women that they don't already have. And please don't say abortion. We know that's what they're going to say, but abortion's not a right. Okay. So again, that's not even a good answer. Okay. So, I mean, you also listen to him talk about Kamala's going to fight for democracy. Yeah, that is why she currently has a Democrat Party nomination after she did not receive 1 vote in the Democrat primary, right, from the people. Not 1 vote whatsoever, right? You disenfranchise Joe Biden out of the millions of votes that he received to install Kamala Harris via coup after she received no votes, right? Not to mention that Democrats basically rigged their own primaries to get Joe Biden elected in the first place by basically stifling any competition or anybody that tried to challenge Joe Biden using lawfare. And we can also go back to the 2020 primaries and the 2016 primaries, where you have multiple Democrats that went on record admitting that, yes, the party finagled their primaries to help Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden win their preferred candidates. We can also talk about how Democrats have challenged every election they've lost since 2000. Yeah, this guy is an NPC. And further evidence of this is the fact that he brings up character, right? He talks about how character is so important, as if Kamala Harris is a better person than Trump, or Democrats are, better people than Trump or whatever. And it's like, again, you're coming at this from a very naive perspective, because I have my doubts that any politician that has made it to the top is actually a good person, because of just how corrupt you have to be, right? How dirty you have to be to survive and to make it in politics, okay? And knowing that, I have my doubts about the character of any politician, left or right, conservative or liberal. Do not lecture me about character when you're advocating for the side of the political aisle that will force experimental vaccines into everybody's arm, including children, because of a pandemic, and then make people lose their livelihoods, okay? The ability to feed their families if they refuse to take an experimental vaccine. Do not lecture me about character when your side of the political aisle has attempted assassinations on Supreme Court justices because they didn't like rulings from the court. And also on top of that, you have individuals that have been inspired to attempt to assassinate the president because they think that Trump is a threat to democracy. Do not lecture me about character when you're on the side of the political aisle that wants to censor my free speech because your feelings get hurt by the things that I say. Do not lecture me about character when you're on the side of the political aisle that has no problems whatsoever bombing children in the Middle East, okay, or starting unnecessary wars to advance the multinational interests of corporate America. Don't tell me about the character of any politician that sells themselves to the highest bidder like a prostitute. I don't want to hear about that, right? I don't want to hear about it, because in my mind, right, looking at it from a realistic perspective, not the perspective of a teenager, right? None of these politicians are really good people. Okay, because if they were good people, they were good character people, they wouldn't be in politics. People with good character, they don't survive that long in politics, right? Because you can't be successful in politics with good character. That's just an unfortunate reality of politics, right? It's kind of been that way forever, right? You got to do some dirty things, right, in order to make it to the top. It is what it is. So that's why when people start to get into this character conversation, it just annoys me. I roll my eyes because I'm like, I'm talking to a child, right? This is a child's perspective on politics, right? So yeah, let's continue.
Well, starting with character, I technically do not think she's a good person. Speaking of which, if we're bringing up stuff from the past, we can say she slept with Willie Brown, broke up a family just to get her job. And while she was there, she used a firm that was putting people in jail that had false positives on drug tests. And she knew they had false positives. She admitted to that. And she was still putting mainly black and brown people in jail. Considering I'm both, that is very much a big issue for me. And also that a woman shouldn't represent, they should just sleep to the top for their job. They should actually work hard for it. I generally don't think that she's a good representative. There's plenty of other women out there.
Yeah, I have a question. How many votes did she get in a run for AG? Do you know? Now, how many votes did she get in a run?
We're talking about character, though.
Of course.
That's
we'll talk
character
about
and morals. And if we're mentioning character and morals here, she's clearly not a good person.
Okay, I'm responding to your
just
claim.
Like you had mentioned all that stuff about Trump, which could be true.
I'm
She's
referencing your
an
claim that she.
and a family.
I'm
record.
referencing your claim that she slept to the top. How many votes did she get when she was running for AG and DA in the state of California?
But that has nothing to do with the fact.
It does. She got 4.5 million votes in total. 80 million for her run for AG or DA. I don't remember which one. And then 4.4 million for the other one. I have a question. You're saying that she slept her way to the top. How many of those 4.5 million people that voted for her did she have to sleep with?
Well, obviously we're in California, and this is pretty corrupt. But to say that she needed the votes of most people that matter, which is the person she slept with, could actually overturn and hide these votes just like they did with the election. But
listen, the idea that women have to sleep with men to get into positions
and that's
of power
exactly what she
is
did.
a misogynistic lie. One moment.
She's saying
do you mind if I finish talking real quick?
We have to open our legs to get jobs. That's exactly how she used it.
Do you mind if I just finish talking real quick?
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when I tell you guys that this young man, he's naive, okay? Because he's basically trying to argue that, well, her sleeping with the guy that was the Speaker of the General Assembly in California, a very influential politician at the time, if not one of the most influential politicians in California, that had nothing to do with her getting her job as district attorney and attorney general. And his evidence for that is the fact that, well, she had to win an election in order to become DA and Attorney General, right? And the fact that he said that, again, it just leads me to believe that you have a very naive perspective on how politics works, right? Because elections are won for multiple reasons. Her being elected is not proof or evidence that her sleeping with a senior citizen didn't have anything to do with her winning the election. Because when you understand how politics works, you understand that politics is all about influence, right? Who you know, just like a lot of industries about who you know, okay, and what positions can they put you in to elevate your career. In the case of Kamala Harris, it is pretty clear if you actually look at the story behind Willie Brown and what he has admitted, that he actually really did help her get to the top because he helped kickstart her career. He helped put her in positions of power that made her resume stronger and helped connect her with people who could help her run for DA and Attorney General, right? Because you just don't wake up and say, hey, I'm going to run for DA and Attorney General and I'm going to go knocking on doors and say, hey, vote for me. No, that's not how politics works. You have to have a coalition of people who support you. You have to be able to raise money. You have to know the right people. You have to build a brand in order to be able to position yourself to run for these positions in the first place, especially in a place like California, right? That's especially true. In fact, let's read this. This is straight from Willie Brown. He says, quote, yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was Assembly Speaker. Brown wrote Saturday. Brown was the Speaker from 1980 to 1995 prior to his stint as San Francisco mayor. Brown appointed Harris to the California Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board and then to the Medical Assistance Commission, positions that paid her more than $400,000 over 5 years, according to San Francisco Weekly. Brown also gave Harris a BMW. Quote, and I certainly helped with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco, he said in his Chronicle letter Saturday. So again, not only was she appointed by this one individual that she happened to be sleeping with, right? Again, this is a young 20, 30-year-old woman, okay, who's really just getting her career started. And this guy appoints her to positions that she wasn't really qualified for, okay? And she happened to be sleeping with the guy. Now, what reason do you think a young 20, 30-year-old woman would want to sleep with a 60-year-old man, right? That's in that position of power. Well, clearly she's doing it for influence, right? Clearly she's doing it to build her career, right? Clearly she is in a relationship with this man because it benefits her, right? Politically. It's obvious, okay? And she got rewarded for that. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, without Willie Brown, Kamala Harris would not be in a position that she's in right now. I think that's very clear, okay? Quote, I have also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other politicians. He added, quote, the difference is that Harris is the only one who, after I helped her, sent word that I would be indicted if I'd so much as jaywalked while she was DA. Brown wrote, that's politics for, yeah. So, you know, speaking of character, right, it doesn't really speak good of Kamala Harris's character to essentially threaten to jail the guy that made her career, right? I'm not sure if that's good character, but basically Kamala Harris tried to distance herself from Willie Brown because she didn't want people to think that he was behind her or that he was controlling her. She, at that point, wanted to pretend as if she was a home person, but behind the scenes, Willie Brown was still helping her, right? He was using his network. He was using his influence, which was pretty significant considering how the guy was the Speaker for the General Assembly. And also, he later became San Francisco mayor. So, again, this guy has a lot of influence in politics, so much so that he's helped out a lot of people. It just so happens that he was sleeping with Kamala Harris. And yes, she may have gotten voted into office, but without Willie Brown, she doesn't get those votes. And that is the argument. And to deny this would be to deny the reality of politics. It would show that you have a very naive, childish, sophomoric understanding of how things actually work, which most certainly could be the case for this guy. But we see here that he's defaulting to what most liberals default to when they don't have a good counter argument, right? They just boohoo, whine, and cry bigotry. Okay, this dude is accusing this young woman of basically being a misogynist, right? She's been a misogynist for bringing up Kamala Harris sleeping her way to the top, right? So why is he doing that? Well, he's essentially accusing this woman of being a bigot to shut her down, right? Because he doesn't have a good counter argument, right? He can't really refute her claims by going into the details, okay, and actually proving that, hey, Willie Brown didn't have that much significance over Kamala Harris's career. He know he can't do that. So again, what does he do to get around it? Well, you're just a bigot for saying that, right? You're a bigot for pointing that out. And he's calling a woman a misogynist, right? And the crazy thing is that he does this throughout all of these interactions with these people. If he disagrees with them, like, for example, immigration, he says, well, that's racist, right? I think he was telling like a Hispanic Latino man, yeah, you're a racist because you agree with Trump on border policy. Again, it's just, this is what they do when they don't have a counter argument. They just say, well, you're a racist, okay, because you disagree with me.
Quick. Also, I would like to finish out this conversation. There's a lot of red flags up, though. So saying that women have to sleep with men to get into positions of power is a misogynistic lie. What you are doing?
Say that. She just
one
did
moment.
that.
One moment.
That's what she represents.
What you are
That's all I'm
doing?
saying, guys.
What you are doing is you are taking Kamala Harris. You are taking her character. You are taking her proposed policy. You are taking her intelligence, and you're taking her wisdom, and you're throwing it out of the window. Because when you say that the
You did the
only
same thing
reason
with
she's
Trump.
in her position of power today is because she slept with a man that had been legally divorced for 3 years is a lie.
didn't.
She got
She slept with him
4.5
while
million
he was
votes to get
married.
into AG and DA and slept with 0 of them. The question I have for you,
Oh, you don't
is
know
how
that,
do you feel
though.
about Donald
Do you know
Trump?
that? No.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
not.
you think that she slept with 4.5 million people to get in her
she
position
could
of power?
have, but the one
Wait,
person that
are
she
you
did
serious?
was the most important person.
Did you just say that she
needed-
had to sleep with 4.5 million
No,
people?
I didn't say that. I said that she slept with one of the most relevant people to get her job.
What was his
to
name?
get in. Willie Brown.
And how
I
did
just said
sleeping
that
with Willie Brown get her the 4.5 million votes in a run for AG
because
and DA?
he was in the same position she needed to get.
But we
there.
have civil and electoral processes. We are a constitutional
honor
republic
those?
with democratic processes. Yes, I do. And you're saying that she somehow circumvented these civil and electoral processes?
I don't hate women, guys. Just letting you know.
Wow. Again, the naivete of this young male is stunning. It really is, right? I mean, if this guy really thinks that having a democratic electoral process basically prevents women from sleeping to the top, right? It basically drowns out any type of influence that somebody like a Willie Brown could have on helping Kamala Harris get into a position of power. I hope he's not commentating on politics for a living, right? I really hope that he's not doing that, right? I'm not sure exactly who this guy is, but I really hope he doesn't do this for a living, right? Because whoever's listening to this guy, you're getting a very naive perspective on how things work, okay? But I just find it hilarious how you have a white liberal male call a woman a misogynist, or to say that she's telling a misogynistic lie because she is simply pointing out that, hey, Kamala Harris sleeping her way to the top, allegedly, is an indictment on her character. I mean, this is the person that brought up character. She brings up a counter argument, basically demonstrating that Kamala Harris does not have this superior or, morally superior character that, again, Democrats like to pretend that they have. And he boohoo whines and cries bigotry, right? Instead of actually engaging with the real argument, which is that Willie Brown put Kamala Harris into positions of power that she otherwise wouldn't have, and helped influence her career by providing her with the resources and connections to get into a position where she could actually run for DA and to win elections. Again, you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to run for DA. No, you have to build a coalition. You have to establish connections. You have to have money. You have to have a whole lot of influence behind you in order to get into a position like that. And the fact that this guy doesn't know that, or he's not acknowledging that, again, it's just funny to me, right? It's hilarious because you have all these people that are saying, well, this guy cleared her, right? He cleared all these people. It's like, no, he didn't clear anybody, okay? He just made it clear that he doesn't really know anything. And it's just one of those examples where, yeah, this sounds good when you listen to it if you're an ignorant person, but if you're not ignorant, he just sounds dumb, right? He just sounds like he doesn't actually know how things work. So again, stuff like this is why I think that these things are kind of a waste of time. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.